Welcome to the Brown Bricks Podcast, the most amount of fun you can have while listening to a podcast. It is a very warm December day, probably the warmest December we've ever lived through.
50 degrees, yeah.
It's nice.
I think if we stop global warming, that'd be nice, but we leave it about this temperature for the winter.
I mean, fuck polar bears. Like, the ice caps can keep melting.
Yeah, we don't need polar. We got grizzly bears.
We got
a lot of good other bears. The best bears.
They enjoy it. They enjoy it in the zoos.
Yeah,
Don't you see them, like, struggling and sad whenever you see them, like, go up against the wall and eat the graham crackers that kids are throwing down?
I like watching the tigers they have, like, trapped in, like, a 6-foot cell.
Oh,
like,
they just keep pacing.
Yeah, that's
forth.
definitely their natural environment right there.
Like, Henry Dorley Zoo is probably the most humane place you can have an animal, but still...
Like a exotic animal. Maybe,
an exotic animal.
On public display.
Yeah, but I mean, for the most part, those are just animals that would have died out in the wild for one reason or another, so they, like, raised them in captivity.
There, yeah.
But it's like... You look at that, and I still feel bad for the animals, even though they probably have the best facilities that you can possibly have there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's really funny with COVID that they're just having to be like, I guess there's no more elephants, guys. And I'm like, where'd the elephants go?
What's the story?
Wait, I haven't heard about this.
Well, there's just a bunch of zoos that are, like, closing down exhibits, and they're just like, we're not going to have these animals anymore.
Did the elephants get COVID?
I don't know. Well, they were like, we can't support them anymore.
Did they just put them down, or what?
I don't know. I don't know if Henry Dorley did it, but a bunch of other zoos I heard about just did it where they were closing down, like, certain exhibits of certain animals, and I was like, wait, what? And they just, I don't know, I didn't follow up. Maybe they transferred the animals to another place, but if money's a problem, then probably not.
It's like the movie Monkey Trouble, and he's got the exotic animals, and they're selling them off on the black market.
Monkey Trouble?
I'm actually not sure that was the plot of that movie. It was about a little monkey that escaped from some rich dude and had something on him, I think, and they sent like a bunch of agents after this little boy or girl, I don't remember who it was, to catch this monkey. I watched it a lot at my grandma's house because it's all she had on VHS.
This is all we have.
So every time we would go there, we'd just watch Monkey Trouble in her bedroom. I'm like, yeah, this movie's fucking awesome. Yeah, I'm just like the monkey in Monkey Trouble.
That's what they wanted you to take out of it.
My nickname as a kid was Danger, because I would jump
Who
off
called
of
you
shit. I did. My parents indulged me.
They called me Danger.
I would jump off of shit into like piles of pillows or whatever. I had a stool that I put like a bunch of like warning labels on, and that was my jumping stool. But one time I jumped off the couch. And this is when we lived downtown, so we had an apartment. I jumped off the couch into a bunch of pillows, but I had my toys in the pillows as well. And one of them was a fire truck toy that I dove head first into off of the couch. And apparently I had a massive fucking lump on my head, so my mom called 911. I don't remember that because I was obviously very young or now brain damaged, but
it blocked it out. I think kids are like super squishy though. Like you can throw a baby against a wall and it would survive. I'm pretty sure.
It just become what's that?
As we learned from dynamic baby yoga.
Yeah,
actually
dynamic baby yoga.
When he starts spinning him like a pizza dough.
You spin them like the one machine in Spy Kids, the one tilt-a-whirl machine where they just spin you round and round. Do that with your baby instead, though.
It is funny because I think my cousin now has a baby, and seeing the parents go from like treating it like a porcelain doll to like just like cramming its limbs in different, because they were like, oh, we got to get it into like its like winter outfit, so it just they put it in and the baby's just like standing there kind of crumpled up and they're just like, get in there, and they just and everyone's like, no, but it's like they're not going to someone's it's like, but they're not going to they're not gonna like that, but they're not gonna get in the outfit unless you specifically force them to do that.
Yeah.
So and they're very flexible things. They're just like very soft, kind of rubbery
little toddlers. I don't know. Yeah. Babies are fun. Like I wouldn't want one necessarily until I'm older, of course, obviously.
Yeah.
Probably like mid-30s is at the first I would probably want a baby.
I feel like you need to get your life in order first.
Yeah.
You need to be like, this
a
is
lot
my normal.
in order.
Yeah, my normalcy. This is my normal life. It would also be nice to have like someone to look after it.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to be like a single father in that sense.
Fuck no.
Because that would be very difficult.
My grandma had my mom when she was like 19, I'm pretty sure. That's the thing that's really going away is like people having kids at such a young age. But I like that idea because then you get to see your grandparents a lot, or grandchildren a lot longer.
Yeah,
that feels nice, but at the same time, like, if you're not ready, don't fucking have kids.
Yeah, well, a lot of that comes from just coming out of high school. I'm thinking back to, like, myself, like, out of high school. Like, I know my mom, her parents had her brother when she was, like, 17.
Mm-hmm.
Or when they were, like, 17, so that kind of age. But it's interesting, because I think about myself coming right out of high school, and I'm like, I would not care for a baby in any sort of
definitely
way.
One of the last things I'm wanting right now. I just want to play video games,
Yeah.
jerk off, and drink alcohol.
You can do all that with babies.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I would be an abusive father, dude. I get so pissed at my siblings for like fucking shit up. I would beat my children.
Phineas isn't here, but imagine him as a
Phineas
father.
is a dog.
He treats him like he treats his dogs. Like,
Oh no.
Yeah, that'd be pretty fun.
Yeah.
I'm just a bad teacher. Like, I can't teach my siblings. Like, I can't help them with their homework ever because I'm like, you don't get this, and I'm like, well, I mean, I probably didn't get it at their age either, but I'm pissed because they don't know it now.
That's like the opposite mindset of what you want for a teacher.
I know, that's why I can't do it. That's why I would be bad at it.
I taught a bunch of kids coding or whatever, just like really, really young kids and some high school students, but it was weird because like going in and teaching them, like some kids just got it immediately, and some kids, like, you just look at them in the eyes and they're just like,
MRs.
your mom wanted you to be here, you're never gonna touch coding after this class, and that's okay.
Your mom drank a few glasses of wine while she was pregnant with you, and now you can't code.
Coding's like learning, like teaching other people, because it used to be, I used to say like, oh, anybody can code as long as you like get into it and like learn the stuff right. But there's legitimately people who just don't think in a coding.
I think I'm one of those people that made it past the I don't think in coding, but I'm still here anyways.
Fake it till you make it. I mean, that's what I did.
Thinking in coding is it
like you thinking the concepts come easy to you and you know how to like express them well.
Yeah, because I mean, coding's very, I guess, flexible in a lot of ways, but that flexibility leads to not a lot of specifically right answers. It's more of, once you know the processes that you can code in, then you can use those to create code that will do what you want it to do. But if you can't think like that, then it's very hard to structure all of the commands to the computer in a way that actually makes it make sense.
Yeah, I don't think like that, and I'm still trying to get a degree in this.
Is it like you remember in pre-calc we had to do those like trig things? And, like, there's an easier way to get to the one answer, but there's also, like, a fucking roundabout way.
Yeah. Like, so proofs, or...
It's like thinking in math.
I think
it's a lot like thinking in math ways,
So, like, you can have, like...
why I hate it.
You can have, like, a code that does the thing, but it, like, takes, like, twice as much, like, processes to complete.
You can fuck up code really bad. Also, I mean, code exists in a place where, like... Basically, if you have anything that's, like, mildly similar to another person on an assignment, like, that's considered cheating, because they're just, like, there's no way that two people could come up with the same code.
It depends, yeah.
Yeah, but... and, I mean, for the most part, that's, like, pretty true. If you have, like, a big chunk of code, that's this exact same.
It depends on how large, for sure.
Yeah.
But some solutions, there's no getting around writing the same thing, which is why you're allowed to look up a lot of stuff in coding.
Exactly. Well, it's also weird because the way that they do academic integrity nonsense with coding is, like, it's like, okay, if you look up something on, like, Stack Overflow and copy that verbatim, that's violating academic integrity.
Yeah, you just copy it and reword variables and shit.
But working at companies,
Yeah,
that's all they do.
Just copy. Some guy wrote this on Stack Overflow 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Copy that shit.
Well, copy that, and all it is finding old, or at least I was an intern, so they probably just didn't trust me to write new code. But they were like, look at all the old code and see what you can salvage from there, and
Piece
put
together.
in Frankenstein some new code out of that. And I'm like, this is the exact opposite of what they told us to do in every code class.
Oh, yeah.
Well, because they want you to learn.
They never tell you about resources. They're just like, well, figure it out. And I'm like, well, I'm going to Google it. You're not stopping me from Googling.
I think a big part of that is you're going to be learning things, or you're going to be learning code bases and different programs for your entire life. So they're just teaching you how to code in Python, or how to do this is not very valuable, but teaching you the general process is where you're going to get a lot of your value out of this class. So
I've just learned how to use Git this semester because I'd never really had a reason to learn before, which is upsetting to me because I'm it's such a big part of working as a group is Git, and it's why don't they just teach that? Why don't they just do a brief overview and here you go, this is how you use
one
Git.
of our classes for 2 or 3 days was all just here's how you do Git stuff, here's how the workflow should work, all that stuff, and that was computer science 1 for us. So, and then
not where I go.
after that, every class made you use it. I used to take pride because there's something on Git that shows you every time that you've pushed or pulled from Git, that'll mark up that day. It'll be
the history.
Oh, bless you. It's it'll be it'll be more blue the more you did it. And so I used to take pride in the fact that I had all of those blue for 200 days, and I was this is dumb.
That's weird. That doesn't mean anything.
Well, because I was wait, I thought before it would be something that would be cool. I thought companies would be oh, you're the kid with
the guy who has all the blue. You got all the blue.
You're the legendary, the legendary blue man.
What's it in the interviews where they're oh, do you code in your free time? It's no, I actually have hobbies. Wrong answer, bitch. You're not coding in your free time. We don't want you.
I remember one of my advisors or something was talking to us, and he was yeah, if you don't have 2 or 3 just projects that you did apropos of nothing, and then by the time you graduate, I just made a couple of games, threw them up on Stack Overflow, and was they were basically just copy and paste from Unity stuff or different Python games, and I was just oh, I made this, and then you'd show it up. I remember one of my friends remade Super Mario Bros. But with Dat Boy in it, and that was the only difference. And he got accepted to Microsoft based on that, because they were
based on that.
Well, he was they zoomed in. His Microsoft interview is half answering questions, and the other half him just showing off his Dat Boy, his Dat Boy thing. It might have been he went to another music company before that. That might have been the one that accepted him into that, but it was still a really good gig, and that was a majority of the interview. It's just him showing.
I gotta make some more shitty games.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. It pays off in spades because it shows that you take initiative on that nonsense.
Yeah. I was working on something in Game Maker Studio for a while, and then I got bored. I got lazy. I say bored. I have no passion for anything I do, really. Unless it's easy.
That's good to hear.
That's, what do you have, Pat? Do you like video games?
My passion is playing video games. Nothing else.
Become a streamer.
I've tried that. Yeah.
We're all banking on this podcast. None of us actually want to go to medical school or anything.
Yeah, guys, if you don't start supporting us even harder, I'm going to have to get a real job, and I'm going to hate it. So, if you want the amount of happiness in the world to go up, you gotta start watching it. Play this shit on repeat. Tell your friends, tell your family.
I think, if you repeat it, I don't think it gets more plays.
I don't care, do it.
Do it just because. Do it so every moment of your life is filled with Jackson's voice.
Do it because you like us.
I don't know, it's so funny to. I remember, one of my friends was talking about, like buying podcasts views or whatever, and I was because he was like, I bought a bunch of podcast views, but they just disappeared because their algorithm changes all the time. So they're like, oh, you have 200 views from Brazil. That seems weird, and just like came immediately out of nowhere. So they delete a lot of those. But I was just like, where did you? He's like, I just went on Fiverr and like paid a guy $10.
Bot listens,
and then it was just like, I was like, that's weird. And so I went on Fiverr, and there was just like this one thing that cost $5, and it was like advertisement. It was like all in broken English. It was like advertisement for podcast, promote big time, promote big podcast, do big thing. And I was like,
hell yeah!
I was like, what the fuck is this? And it was like increase podcast numbers by 300, and I was like, what does that? What does that mean?
$5?
Well, it was like it was $5, so I was like, I'll absolutely buy this. Like, I want to see what this does, and I bought it.
Our podcast is illegal views now.
No, it got one view from Brazil, and that was it. And like, it was funny because there's this like workflow thing on Fiverr where it'll be like your commission is being processed, your commission is accepted, your commission is in progress, and then your commission is completed. I just like looked, and it was like, our most recent episode got one more view from Brazil, and then it was like, your commission is completed.
He just watched it himself.
Yeah, he just like watched it once. And I was like, what the fuck? That's it? I paid $5. I mean,
maybe if we just pay a bunch of viewers $5 one time.
That is not worth it. I was really curious as to like what it was.
We just gotta get in the money once.
I thought it was like they run like a script or like a code where like you create different accounts, and then it like, is that possible?
Well, they probably just have like a bunch of accounts already created for that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then they could just run a script on each one of those accounts, like just to listen to it. But it's just weird because it was. I mean, I kind of want to do that on Fiverr now. That's a good. Just throw it up, be like, do non-specific things about like, oh, we'll increase your podcast viewership, and then immediately.
Yeah, what are the protections on Fiverr? Anything
Nothing.
at all?
I don't think so.
I think just the reviews, like if you get a shit job,
Oh man, have you guys seen all that like the furry art of people who like mortgage their house to like make furry art, and the guy who like ended up making the furry art just does a shit job?
No.
There's like this one story that's kind of infamous. That's about this one guy who he put $9,000 as a down payment for this thing, and then he ended up paying $25,000 on the whole for this art.
One piece of art?
For one piece of art.
What the fuck?
And it's clear that the guy spent like 30 minutes on it, and it's like a sketch that he filled in with color and did like a shitty job shading. And so all that happened was he was like, I'm really displeased with the... And I'm like, dude, he scammed you for $25,000. I think you could probably sue him.
What the fuck?
I'm not sure what, like, because I guess, I don't know, the commission side is...
Yeah, what? That's so crazy. You're better off just DMing artists on Twitter and being like, are your commissions open?
Yeah.
Instead of randomly picking someone on Fiverr. Because Fiverr, it's...
Oh, it wasn't on Fiverr. It was just like, that was a guy on Twitter.
Oh,
he was like
just
relatively famous. Yeah. It was just, that's an infamous story.
Yeah. But I know there's like the one famous Twitter furry artist that you can't get away from. I don't remember who they are, but I just see their art sometimes. Sonic Fox doesn't do art, does he?
Fighting games are art.
Okay, well, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about real furry art.
They do plenty of art. I think, oh man, but with Fiverr, I used to go on and make, like, websites, because I didn't have a job, so I was like, well, I need stable income, so I'd be like, for $50, I'll make you a huge-ass website, and they were just like, sure, and a bunch of people bought it, so I made, like, I don't know, like, 30 websites off there, and they would just pay me like $50, and I was like, we're in the money now. But yeah, no, if you ever want to make a shit ton of money, just learn how to code a basic bitch website, and then people will be like, that's amazing, and then I would just copy and paste my code from like the other like the first website I made, and then just reuse that, and they're like, it looks so good, because I'd like make small improvements every time.
That's pretty good. That's a good idea for a grift. Was it Pewdiepie who got in trouble a while back for telling the Indian guys to put up...
Yeah, Hitler did nothing wrong.
Was that was on Fiverr? Or?
Yeah, that was on Fiverr.
Fiverr's old.
Yeah,
Fiverr's
Fiverr's
older
super
than I
old.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah, Fiverr existed back in Mesopotamian times.
That's
when they
crazy,
would,
dude.
When they would trade
It's
cowries.
the barter
for,
economy.
They would trade cowries
5
for Indian,
cowries,
for Indian people,
Just saying.
sticking up a sign that says "Kill all Jews." Yeah,
did
that was
nothing wrong.
that was the classic.
Hell yeah, dude. I kind of miss those times on the internet, where people were getting upset about PewDiePie over stupid jokes that he made. Yeah, that was fun discourse to have. I remember thinking back then, like, I didn't think it was really funny, but I just didn't care. I just didn't give a shit. It was like,
about PewDiePie
whatever.
or what?
I kind of liked PewDiePie's content back then, but I don't watch it anymore, of course, because I'm a fucking adult. I'm an adult, not a 9-year-old, not a part of the 9-year-old army. There's all that fucking stupid shit with T-Series. Yeah, like
what
the biggest YouTube account, because there's so many Indian people that subscribe to T-Series. That's funny. People thought he was racist for that too, against Indian people.
Yeah, he made like a fucking a rap or something.
Yeah.
Indian people.
The rap, I don't know, it was a little weird. Something about, there's like a weird line about Indians, I feel like. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've listened to it.
The bitch lasagna one?
Yeah, yeah.
That wasn't, I think he was
It
just...
wasn't like racist. It was just like...
I think he was just
weird.
like making fun of like Indian words, which was just like a really weird low blow.
No, it was like the memes. There's like show Bob and Vagine.
Yeah.
And I think there might have been one that was like
Bob.
bitch lasagna, something like that. That
Yeah.
might have been circulating the internet at the time. And so he was making fun of that.
It was...
Show Bob and Vagine.
That was a really weird time on the... Because I remember... I wasn't like into PewDiePie at that time, but just everything was around that. So there was this one video that came up and I recommended that I was curious about. That was just like how Indian people view the so he'd like stop random people on the street in India. Most of them were like, I don't give a shit. What the fuck are you talking about?
What the fuck is
and they're
a
like,
PewDiePie?
They're like, I know what T-Series is because it's like
Because I
popular.
like music.
Yeah, because I enjoy music. But who the fuck is PewDiePie? There's like one guy though that's like, dude, Brofist Army for life. He was just like
it's
the
just a
biggest
college
PewDiePie. He was just like. He was like in high school or something, and he's just like the biggest PewDiePie fan, but he's just like
But he's
India.
Indian, yeah.
It was. I guess. I mean,
He's gonna get executed in the streets
Yeah.
for betraying
T-Series has like a ceremonial like lobbing off of heads for everybody who is subscribed to PewDiePie in India.
Damn. Yeah, that's fucked up. Why is your culture like that, Tish? Why do they do that? Why do they behead people for not subscribing to T-Series?
I mean, our culture does something. I remember that's if you were subscribed to PewDiePie, the Wall Street Journal would come to your house and shoot you.
Yeah, they'd kill your dog.
Yeah, they'd come in and kill your dog. So I mean, you know what? Different cultures just kind of operate on similar wavelengths, but different ideals.
For sure. I mean, the Wall Street Journal, they weren't doing it for... They were in support of T-Series in a way, though.
Yeah, well,
doing that.
they were just anti... enemy of my enemy is my friend, yeah.
So, they were really doling out the true justice, the people's justice.
The people's justice.
Against the Nazi man, PewDiePie.
They really got him.
They really fucking nailed
I feel
him
like
down.
PewDiePie wouldn't be nearly as popular as he is now.
If he didn't say the N-word.
Yeah, honestly,
propelled
yeah.
him.
Because there was a bunch of people...
when did he say the N-word?
He said the N-word on a live stream where he's playing PUBG.
And he was on a bridge, and then he got shot and died, and he just said, what a fucking N-word. Which is like the worst use of the word that you could possibly use.
So bad.
And then he did that, and then he said, "Oh man, that was probably a bad idea." And the rest of the stream was just him like reeling from that. And but it was just weird because there's a bunch of people who like went on. There were like internet celebrities like Sky Williams or whatever.
Yeah.
He like went on MSNBC and he was talking, and he was like the way that he said it like. It's not the kind of thing that someone would say that they haven't said before. He obviously says that.
That is true.
Oh, it is. But it was just weird that it was like Sky Williams on MSNBC,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Thanks for your input, Sky."
Input, Mr. Sky Pedophile
Yeah,
Williams.
Sky Pedophile Williams, as he's colloquially known.
No, just that. Like, I think the funniest part about that was like all the actual like racists coming to defend him, and he's like, "No, I fucked up. I'm in the wrong." And they're like, "Don't apologize to the SJWs, PewDiePie, for saying the N word very derogatorily."
It was such a weird time. Well, I mean, anytime you do anything that's like, I messed up, I did something that's like considered racist.
Yeah, people are like, don't apologize.
Actual racists will come out and defend. Like, there's a difference between like, okay,
doing something.
I made a joke that went like a little too far, and like you know what, I understand. Like Dave Chappelle kind of like being like, you know what, that I understand why that could like offend people, but I do comedy. And, like, if you're not pushing boundaries in comedy, then what are you doing? And just saying the N-word.
Yeah, there's a pretty hard difference there than saying something, like, slightly, like, off-color and people are, like, outraged by it, but, like, it's not something that's, like, blatantly, like, in bad taste, where saying the N-word outright in a manner that he did.
He called someone else that as a, like, insult.
Very much an insult, yeah.
And, like, it's, that feels more like, because that was a thing back in, like, the olden days of the internet. You would just, people would use that just because it was, like, edgy. So I assume because growing up there, he's also not, like, super deep into like American racism.
Sweden,
he's Sweden. So I assume he was just like, I use this all the time because I grew up on the internet, and like it just wasn't out of his vocabulary until that point. And I think for the most part, that's probably just like the word that they try to like pick out of a hat to be like, what hurts the most? Like, what's like the most offensive word that I can use?
It's like, for a lot of European countries and stuff, it's like, since American culture is so pervasive, you hear it in like rap music and stuff like that all the time, the N-word, I mean, and you obviously don't have the same context as Americans have to the use of that word, and you're like, well, you know, in other ways it's bad if you use the internet, but you don't know how bad it is. You're not like, oh,
like
this means
YouTubers.
That is good. Yeah,
it is funny to see the ones who actually speak English. Like, there's a couple of Indonesian ones who were playing GTA, and they'd get to that part and they'd hear it, and then everyone's expecting them to say it, and they're like, "I know what that means."
I'm not gonna say it.
They fucking bait it. They'll say "fuck," but they will not. Like, and which is
drop hard and mom.
Yeah, and like the Japanese have no idea how bad that word is, because they're like, one, they don't know very good English, and so they like kind of have an understanding, but they don't know that word, and they don't.
Well, the way that I think the character Franklin, I've never played GTA 5, but the way the character says
the turtle man,
Franklin the turtle in GTA 5, the way he says it in that scene, he says it very sing-songy, which makes you want to repeat it.
Yeah, it's just like, well, it's like, oh, I'm a cute anime girl, I'll repeat the thing that like has a tone to it.
Yeah,
they said like, N-word, and it's like, oh yeah, I could say that too, and it's just funny because it just like every like clockwork every time. I remember we were over at like Wyatt's place, and we were talking about that, and he's like, I was like, oh, there's a compilation video. We watched the compilation video, and the first couple were funny, but then after that, everyone just got really uncomfortable because all it was just like a bunch of people who don't know what the word is saying the word.
Saying the N-word. Yeah, that is good. I like that.
That's fun.
That's fun stuff. This is how we get Phineas into VTubers.
Yeah.
Making them say the N-word more.
Oh, man.
Eating Mike Tyson's ass.
Eating Mike Tyson's ass?
Yeah, that's what, it's a regular donator to Corone.
Oh,
and
awesome.
She makes her say it.
I remember, I've donated to Calliope before.
Yeah.
And they won't, they changed my username to like a bunch of letters and numbers, because OTPHJ LLC is just like off the table. Because they know that OTP, like most people have no idea what that is. Like I'll comment in their chat and they'll see my chat and it'll be fine. But the moment that like a super chat comes through, they'll like scan your name to make sure that it's nothing like that bad, and they're like, oh, they probably shouldn't be saying over the pants hand job. And so
they look up your name,
and so I don't. Yeah, I want to. I'm thinking about changing my username, but I just think it's too funny. I'm just hoping that one day it'll get through, because on the more independent VTubers and the Twitch streamers, I love that. Where they'll just be like,
do you think it's that, or do you think that they think you're promoting something?
Maybe.
Oh,
like
maybe. Yeah.
Like
that would be funny. That's I just like that maybe. Yeah, because they were like
more. That is also plausible. Yeah.
That's hilarious. But I think the idea of Over the Pants Handjob Limited Liability Corporation is a funny username, and so I will stick to my guns.
Yeah, I never type in the YouTube chats because my YouTube name is my real name, so I just don't bother.
I mean, why not? Who's gonna be like, Jackson's on here?
I'm just like, I'm weirded out by just immediately typing something fucking stupid and being like, oh, that's my real name right next to that right there.
All caps, lol. It's just Jackson.
That's why I love Twitch chat, because I guess I could just make an alternate account for YouTube, but I'm too lazy. I don't want to...
Well, you can change your username on YouTube.
Yeah, but I think I had to... Because it's like it's attached to your Google account, and so you can't change it without changing your Google account name.
You'd have to be Mr. Inspector Gadget, like I am on Google.
This is fucking stupid. Why, Google?
First name Inspector, last name Gadget, baby.
Hell yeah, dude. But in Twitch chats, I can just say whatever dumbass shit I want, and it's not associated with my real name. And I like that.
Yeah, I
like the anonymity.
Man, Google Plus, is that...
Being an MR.
Is that dead?
It's dead, it's gone.
Okay.
I think they canceled it, yeah.
Yeah.
Is there streaming?
No, Google Plus was the Facebook of Google. When they try to do like the accounts where you'd hang out and like make posts on your wall or whatever and do hangouts, whatever the fuck.
I remember my cousin who was homeschooled was like, "Yeah, we only use Google Hangouts to like chill," and I was like, what world do you live in?
Where's Skype on your radar?
Yeah. Well, that was back when Skype was used. Now it's just Discord.
What the fuck happened to Skype? Like
they dropped the ball hard.
Like,
they
could have had so much fucking market.
I think it was just they were not, because Slack exists for like business purposes.
Slack exists for business purposes because Discord decided to shoehorn them, like corner themselves into the gamer market.
Where it's like Discord would literally be because Slack you have to pay for.
Yeah,
like Slack you have to pay for. Discord has the exact same shit as Slack does, except for it just whenever you boot it up, it makes a stupid Rick and Morty reference when it's loading.
Says some dumb ass shit like Wampus is loading all your chocolates.
Yeah, and then, so no business is going to use that as its main mode of like community. Actually, I think businesses just get off on like paying money for things.
They're like this has to be a premium service because I paid for it.
And they'll be like, because it'll be like, oh, you could like use the thing that exists that's free that everyone else uses on the internet.
Yeah.
But businesses, if they're not buying a business license, they're like, well, what are we doing? Like,
what the fuck?
We're getting this for free? No way. That's stupid. We need to pay like $600 a month in order to feel like we need to have something on our books in order to like make this cost efficient.
Yeah, maybe it's money laundering to Slack. Who knows?
That would make a lot of sense. But yeah, Discord, I just think it's hilarious because Discord totally could have had a Discord business that would have charged like half of what Slack does because it's just the same thing that they do for free. And then like instead of like now they just have to have Discord Nitro to make money, which I
kind of want to get Discord Nitro because I use Discord enough that I'm like I kind of want to use animated emotes in Discord.
Yeah, well, that's how it gets you. That's because Discord. I mean, but that's such a bad business model.
The only difference is the fucking...
No, there's... depends on the server. Like, if you can, like, donate to a server to upgrade it and, like, get better voice quality, get better, like, video quality for streaming.
You can also, like...
There's some other... You get more emotes.
And you can, like, put files that are, like, 100 megabytes in there, which is actually pretty big, and so you could use that as, like, a file sharing thing, whereas... I mean, right now, you can barely share, like, a video.
Yeah, you
can only share like, pictures.
Too long.
But at the same time, that's just...
It's a terrible business model.
Yeah.
They used to have, like, the store on Discord that you'd get, like... There's like, the Discord Nitro games that you could play for free on their store, and then they took that away because no one was doing that.
I don't get businesses who, have... Like, because, I mean, like, YouTube Red exists, And people...
Oh, yeah, that does exist.
YouTube TV is way more used. Like, because see people, when they cut the cord, they say, I still want my sports games.
YouTube TV now.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. It's just like cable, but...
It's just cable, but they...
Is it a lot cheaper? Because, like, my parents are paying, like, $100 for cable. I'm
YouTube
like,
TV
you're
is
just
way
looking
better.
at CNN. What the fuck do you need $100 a month for? Like,
It's insane. Like, cable... Before I was like, man, this is a, like, Netflix, Hulu, YouTube TV. That's like $50 a month. How much is cable? $200 for like 200 channels, and I'm like, so it's
like 3 of those channels. We watch like sci-fi and fucking NFL.
Like being able, because I don't think any cable companies at the current moment are just like, okay, pick your channels that you want. We'll charge you a fraction of what we currently do.
Yeah, they don't.
But that's also because people would probably pick the same 10 channels, and then all the rest of the channels would just be like, why are we paying to have like sci-fi on here?
I think that would be, in a way, a better business model for them, because, like, you don't have to get the people who, like, there's the people who wail on it and get, like, the $200 for all the channels, but then you'd probably get more people who actually want to watch the content that's specific to those channels and just pay for those channels.
I'm just... Like, the idea of, like...
Yeah,
whales, like, the top 5% of cable watchers just, like, spending a bunch of money. Like, you get CNN on a gatcha system.
If you get to watch whatever channel you want.
I keep rolling TNT.
I fucking hate this channel.
I want 5-star CNN.
This channel sucks. But I have no choice.
I saved up all my rolls so I could roll for ESPN2 so I could watch football.
Overwatch. That'd be good. But I do think it would just be a better business model.
It's a better business model for them, but the thing is that it's probably a worse business model for the smaller channels that would not get near, because they get promotion only through the fact that like the cable company has to pay for them to be on their service. And if they're like, no one wants to have you.
But that's capitalism, baby. Cut them out.
Hey, but there's like a gaming... So out at the lake or whatever, we get like 20 channels. And one of them is like a weird gaming channel where they'll just have like Let's Players and Twitch streamers and they'll play like tabletop games.
I've seen that. My parents have that downtown at the bar. They're like... They had TV on when we went down one time. Remember that? They had Fall Guys like on the TV. There were just streamers playing Fall Guys on the TV, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? What am I looking at? Why is this in a bar?
Yeah, no, but it's just like a gaming TV channel, and I'm like, who is this for? Like, I don't know. Like,
just watch Twitch!
In Buffalo Wild Wings, they always have like an esports channel. Or it might be ESPN.
Well, that was ESPN back when they would have like actual esports on there. But this is just like a channel of like a streamer.
Yeah,
it's like a TV channel.
It's not like they're competing. They're not good. They're just a guy playing. Huh. Yeah, dude.
Like a couple people.
If they have a VTuber on there,
I
definitely
shit! Oh fuck! YouTube TV. Get on
there. TV. Yeah.
Bring back cable. Revive cable.
Yeah, that was immediately cable jumps 200%.
Yeah. Damn, that would be fucking crazy, dude. That'd be nuts. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, no. There's like the one restaurant in that I've been to that has like it's not AFV, but it's just a TV channel that plays like clips. It's just a clip show, but forever. It's just a constant clip show.
So it's just like TikTok
fails or like funny moments or like that kind of bullshit.
You laugh,
and
you lose.
I guess they pay for cable or something, or they pay for this one channel and just have it playing constantly up there. And I like that more than the regular TV up there, honestly. Yeah. I like that kind of shit more than regular TV, because it's just like when I'm eating dinner, I'm not going to fucking want to watch somebody putting up Fox News on the TV. I'm going to want to watch somebody putting AFV, somebody
getting hit in the nuts,
somebody falling off their bike.
Like, my dad, like, loves ridiculousness, but he loves it purely because, I mean, he loves it for the reason that anybody loves it, which is you get to see a bunch of videos of guys getting hit in the nuts, and that's funny. But ridiculousness is one of those things where they show the clip is 10 seconds, and then they spend 5 minutes, like, making the worst jokes possible on that clip, and just being like, let's, like, talk about it, like, old millennials who also are frat guys. and then we talk about it like that, and then we throw it over to the resident girl who says something dumb, and then we all laugh at her.
Call her a stupid hole.
And it's just the weirdest kind of
This is a lot of beer.
it's the weirdest. I mean, it's just a 30 rack. It's a good enough amount. We'll finish it.
We didn't talk about our alcohol. Yeah, we're drinking some
Drinking Busch Light.
Busch Light.
It's not exciting.
As God intended.
Limited edition can.
Limited edition.
Yeah,
With
sure.
the deer in
Did you see the corn cans back
Weird.
when they had those?
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, everybody was super hyped about the corn cans.
Dude, corn, yeah, I missed that shit.
For the farmers.
I remember PBR had like the anime cans for a little bit.
What?
No
And-
way.
Yeah,
what?
they had something that was like
Let me look
anime
at it.
adjacent onto it. You can probably look it up, but it was weird because we would get like PBR just to drink, and it would just be a bunch of frat guys sitting around drinking like anime can PBR, which was just a very
What anime?
surreal experience. Well, I think it was just an artist who did like
okay.
in that style,
That's
but it
cool.
was
Mm.
it looked I don't know. Are you finding it?
Very anime PBR. Just okay. Well, I don't think he's
looked up.
finding anything good.
Is
What is this?
Oh yeah, no, it was that.
like
And then if you
Japanese.
turned it around, it was kind of similar. It was like anime style stuff on the entire thing,
Yeah, they're like Japanese style PBRs. Weird.
which is weird because I thought that was a very very American thing.
A PBR, yeah.
yeah.
I think they are, yeah.
Well, I remember the way that they got popular was like they went to like a festival, and they used to be like a really shitty beer, and they like my dad associates PBR with the same thing that we associate like Busch Light as,
Yeah.
but now PBR in our minds is like a tier
A
above
bit
that.
more high class.
but,
yeah.
I think a lot of it has to do with the fucking can design because
the
can
can-
design
taller
is pretty.
Well,
can.
apparently
Yeah.
all it was that they went to a music festival at some point, and then they gave a bunch of PBR to like hipsters, and then the hipsters would see other hipsters drinking the PBR, and then that entire music festival was just people buying PBR because they saw, and so then after that just became like the hipster drink of choice. So it became a little bit, it notched up a little bit more class, because now it's like more expensive than a Busch or an Addy.
Yeah.
But I
It's
mean,
not that bad.
it's not that bad at all. It's like, I mean, nothing's like expensive when it comes to beer,
Sure.
but the fucking dollar store beer that is the Busch Light,
I like it, but yeah, it's dog shit, dude.
oh, it's fine.
It's
I mean,
fine.
the devil you know at this point, because
Oh, yeah.
I'm drinking enough Busch Light to just be like, this is just,
I haven't drank in the last week, so yeah, I'm enjoying this.
yeah, you're feeling it now. Now
I'm
it's
really
mine
feeling
time.
it.
I haven't
Not
had
a-
a Miller High Life in a while.
Oh,
Back
yeah.
in our high school days, but haven't had it.
Good times,
Yeah,
yeah.
I drank hard alcohol back in high school.
That was funny,
The
because
Barton's craze.
I just remember, yeah, because I would be able to just like shotgun Barton.
Dude, I grew out of hard alcohol.
Oh
so
yeah, but
fast.
now I can't. Now,
Dude,
now,
I can't even think about
even
fucking-
like freshman year of college when I
Vodka.
would drink like all the time, I would be like, why was I doing that? Like, what the fuck? Who was I? Was I just a
I
monster?
know, I was a fucking crazy. I would like eschew beer so hard. I was like, oh, liquor all the way, dude.
Well,
I'm like,
'cause it
what
was-
the fuck is
I mean,
wrong with me?
I still do claim that I'm like very post-food about alcohol, where I'm like, I'm either going to enjoy what I'm drinking, or I'm going to just drink whatever gets me drunk, or as drunk as I want to get the fastest.
Yeah.
And it's just weird because I think that was more out of necessity back in high
Yeah,
school.
it was a
because,
lot easier to transport
Well-
liquor and...
Well, even more than that, it was like because in college it's like everybody, you know people who are 21, you know
Yeah.
people who have fake IDs, but in high school it's like one guy who everyone knew would just come to the party with like a handle of Bartons and like 2 beers, and he'd be like, alright, that's $70. And you were like,
you definitely ripped us off. You
Yeah.
my brother too, kind of ripped me off, but
but I mean, we
gotta-
just didn't have anything
Yeah.
else. Like, that's because that was all, like, whatever they would bring would just be the manna from the gods. And so you just drink that.
The ambrosia.
Yeah, you didn't have a lot of say as to, like, what you would get. So,
Yeah, we were fucking pussies.
I
dude.
wish, yeah, because my sister, she went to college, like, shortly after, so, like, freshman year. So before we, like, actually started having, like, kind of legit parties. But I think, yeah, that would have been clutch if I would have had an older sibling to like
Yeah.
actually buy me stuff.
My brother doesn't. I don't think he drinks at all, so he's not even going to ask me. So I'm not even going to be able to fulfill that role of buying for high schoolers.
Yeah, you can't rip him off.
My brother's such a fucking square, dude. He's such a fucking square. He plays sports and he has a girlfriend.
What a fucking.
I don't even think he fucks his girlfriend. I think.
Oh man, they're saving it till marriage.
I think they're celibate. Yeah.
Which
is fucking lame, dude.
That's hilarious. I mean, because it's just like it's like I don't know. There people who are just like the generic default person, like just like, oh yeah, no,
that's not the default. I don't think. I think that's different than normal.
I guess it is like being more of a square. I suppose that's more different. That's an interesting. It's a lifestyle that I cannot understand, but I appreciate people because the world needs to go around like that.
I kind of respect him for it, but at the same time, like, man, you're a fucking loser. Fuck you. Drink alcohol, bitch.
Drink alcohol.
Get drunk while you're underage, pussy.
Yeah, of course. You gotta do it so it'll be cool. When you hit 21, you can make the joke that it's like, oh, this is your first drink.
And then he's like, no, this is actually my first drink.
Well, the law says that I can't, and it's like, God, I mean, the law's wrong because your brain stops aging at like 25. So really, the drinking age should either be 25 or 18.
Well, it's not like rewiring my synapses.
I mean, it's not doing anything good for the development of your brain. It's not like I think it's like it is like damaging parts of it that are.
Yeah, because your brain still is developing until like they said like 23 or 25 or something.
And how is this hurting it?
You're just shocking the system a little bit.
giving it a little fun.
Yeah.
Just giving a little
damage here and there, as long as you're not doing it every day.
Well, it's not like doing fucking psychedelics where it literally rewires your brain.
That is something that's like pretty spooky. Where
it's terrifying.
But I mean, it's not. I don't think it's. But yeah.
I want to smoke weed again. I think I had like a little scare a while back where I thought. I smoked weed and it gave me anxiety and I thought I was having a heart attack, so I went to the hospital. But
oh shit.
Well, I kind of want to do it again though because I think I might be fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your heart was. Like,
I remember
acting up
there had been other times where I had THC in my system and it was fine. I was feeling good. It was a fun time. And it was just that one time that it gave me anxiety, and so I figured I got really scared, obviously, because I thought I was having a heart attack, so it wasn't a fun time. And so that's put me off of it for a while. But I think trying THC again might be a good time.
Apparently, like it runs in my family. I don't have it. Like I'm totally fine when I smoke. I get a little bit more high than everyone else, but that's just because I don't smoke that much. But like apparently, like, my sister, my dad, and my mom all, like, legitimately throw up whenever they have weed in their system. Like, any sort of THC, they'll, like...
They're lying. They're lying, too.
Is that when they're drinking?
No, they're just, like, they'll do it, and they'll be like, oh, no, and they'll feel just, like, horribly sick. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure you're doing it... Like,
they're doing this on purpose.
But I'm pretty sure they're doing it wrong. Like, but I'm not going to be like, all right, guys, let's show how we actually smoke the weed. Like, I'll show you guys.
I'm about to teach you. My parents are stoners, I'm pretty sure. Or at least my mom is, yeah. Oh. You've got the rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh, yeah.
And that helps with that.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah. I still don't know why. I remember it was so bullshit. It was so fucking bullshit this year when they took it off the ballot.
Yeah, that's fucking bullshit, dude.
Well, so we had enough signatures for the weed thing.
Yeah, I signed that shit.
Yeah, so did I. And so I was like, oh, we have enough signatures because there was a huge push for that. To get it on the ballot this year, so it got on the ballot initially, but then a week before the ballot was going to be printed off, the judge rejected it. But it's a thing that happens sometimes. But then you just have to bring it back up to the judge and kind of get it appealed, and it would have gotten appealed, but there just wasn't enough time. So they did it in a very specific way, so you couldn't. Yeah, you couldn't appeal it. And so
Dude, we would have 100% legalized weed.
Well, I mean, I know people who work in the government who are familia, and they said, they're just, weird, anti-weed people, where they're just oh, well, in Colorado, they may get billions of dollars in tax revenue, but they also, occasionally more people come to the hospital because of weed overdoses, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I think the House today passed weed legalization, so it's just got to make it through the Senate.
Oh, nice. That's
which
awesome.
is not going to happen. Because,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think...
That's fucking
I don't
cringe,
get that.
dog.
I don't understand why there's this huge push against it.
And the GOP are fucking cunts, dude.
They just... I don't know. I think it's... I guess because it's interesting. Because, I mean, everyone always says, like, smoking and alcohol is worse for you than weed. But I do think it's interesting the difference. Because with alcohol, you slowly get drunk. And your inhibitions are slowly getting lowered. So it's not necessarily as noticeable. And with smoking, you're like the buzz you get off of it is not like it's more like physical than it is like mental. But with weed, it's you go from a normal mental state to immediately a very different one. So I think that scares a lot of people off of it because they're like, oh, and that's why like the whole freak out thing the first time you do it, a lot of people have like very adverse reactions to it. But I think that's why it's way more controversial because they're just like, oh, you're doing like something that'll mess with your brain, man. Like you, and then it's like, no, I mean, you know.
I think I smoked a lot with Wyatt before I ever got high once. Like, I smoked a lot with him, and I never felt anything for the longest time. And then, I don't remember exactly when it was, but I just had, like, a breakthrough in my mind. I'm like, okay, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I see
you
what
put
you
it
guys
in
are
your
talking
lungs,
about.
not just your mouth.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That was probably, what it was. But, that was fun, yeah. At least that first experience where I actually got high, so I'd be down to do that some more.
I remember fucking my, when I first started, like, vaping, what I would do is I'd, like, breathe it into my mouth, then breathe it into my lungs,
suck
then
it
breathe
in.
it out, and my friend was like,
Swallow it.
You're doing it horribly wrong, like, why are you doing it like that? And I was like, oh, and then then you get addicted to nicotine after that.
Hell yeah.
Which,
Get addicted to nicotine.
like, Juuls are infinitely worse for kids than, like, getting it. I guess weed, the only problem is that it's a problem with, like, any substance where it's just bad to have in your system. Like, alcohol is not good to have in your system if you want to be productive. So is smoking, so is weed. But just, like, everybody who gets addicted to those substances, alcohol is easier to get addicted to than weed, but it's just, like, some people will just be like, oh, I'm just not going to do anything because I'll just be like a stoner. And that's bad, but it's also just as bad to have people drunk drive everywhere, so...
Yeah, well, really, I don't see anything wrong with it, so...
Yeah, why not?
Go for it. It's your right.
Dude, fucking, so... Just, like, listening to, like, libertarian debates is, like, the most annoying fucking thing in the world.
It's fucking so funny.
Because it's just, like... So there are actual, like... As a self-proclaimed, like,
there are
libertarian...
good libertarian arguments that I
yeah,
agree
well, there's,
with.
like, interesting things where you could be like, okay, as a party, how do we make ourselves, A, more marketable, and B, like, kind of focus on issues and tackle things that the American populace, like, actually wants?
So hung up on
But instead, they're like,
shit.
should we have roads? And then they'll spend, like, 20 minutes talking about whether we should have, like, roads or not. And, like, you always bring up the point of, like, the one guy who's just like, I think we should probably have
Gary Johnson. And
yeah.
Gary Johnson? Yeah, that's
Gary Johnson, yeah.
2016 at those debates. Yeah, they didn't have those debates again this year.
They did. No, I watched them, and it was just so infuriating because it was all just like, should we have speed limits? And a bunch of people were like, rah, rah, rah.
Fucking, what's her face? JoJo. She was green.
JoJo Siwa?
JoJo Jorgensen. Joe Jorgensen.
Oh, yeah, Joe Jorgensen.
Was she green? I don't remember.
JoJo.
Well, yeah, JoJo, as she's known.
As she's known
in the political
Part 9.
Yeah.
Boys.
She was like Green Party, right?
If you scan your QR code in the back of your bush, you can play a nice little mini game.
What's the mini game? What does it entail?
It's a buck shooter.
Awesome. I love hunting.
Oh,
I remember.
Oh yeah.
I got absolutely plastered one night. I was going to like bar hopping for someone's 21st, and they had a Mortal Kombat cabinet.
Oh fuck. Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 3 cabinet in the back. Damn. And I was like, oh dude, this is sick. I'll totally play. And me and another guy, just like, I didn't know who he was. He wasn't in our group, but he was like, oh, I'll play Mortal Kombat. And we got on it. And the controls were so bad. Like, because, like, the buttons wouldn't work. Like, they would stick
sticky.
in. And then also, like, you couldn't push the, like, at least my joystick to, like, down back. You could only hold it, like, up.
Oh, God.
And it was just, like, we were both, like, so infuriated. Because, like, this guy was like, dude, like, we should pitch in money so they can fix this. And I'm like, abso-fucking-lutely, man. Like, we were both just so passionate about it because we were just so pissed off that this Mortal Kombat cabinet was ass.
Moron Combat 3.
Yeah, we were like, but I just remember being like absolutely livid and just like going up to my friends and they're like, "Are you like what's wrong?"
Okay.
And I'm like, "They're fucking Mortal Kombat cabinets, so shit, guys."
Yeah, me and Jack went to Galloping Ghost earlier this year. And
That was so cool.
That was fucking awesome, dude. I love that place.
Galloping Ghost?
Yeah, it's the world's biggest arcade, and they have like it's like a living museum of like arcade cabinets.
And so they have a bunch of shit that like you just have never
That
heard
are
of.
never
So,
like you will never see anywhere else.
It's really cool, but that was so weird because I'd heard about it in a couple of different places, and I'm like, how close are we to it? Yeah, let's just go. And then we went, and it was way better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like 2 rows of cabinets, and it was just...
That place was
like,
cool as shit, dude.
They had the fucking
so
JoJo
deep.
fighting game.
Yeah, they had the fucking... What's it called? What was that game? Is it just called JoJo's...
I think it was something like JoJo's Stardust Crusaders, I think.
I don't remember.
But it might have just been JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but I think, they, like, any arcade game you could think of, they have. And they also have a, like, pinball. We didn't go into it, but they have, like, a pinball place that has every pinball machine ever.
Yeah.
That's, like, across the street. So it's just, like, man.
Super cool.
Super cool.
Recommend it. It's in the Chicago area if you're around there, listeners.
Yeah.
And check it out.
I'm sure
they're probably closed.
Yeah.
Or they're allowing, like...
I mean, Round 1's open near me.
Oh no!
Which is just like I just looked at that and I'm like, what the because people are like where? Because I remember I went in I went on like a date to go like bowling or something and I was like, do you really want to
recently?
Like a couple of months ago. But it was like still like pandemic time.
Yeah.
And I went in and they were like, oh, let's go bowling, and I'm like, I guess I know a place. I don't know if it's open or not. And I looked at Round 1, it was totally open, and it was still like popping. Like, people were still, like, in there, but it was just really weird, because no one was wearing... Because everyone's wearing masks, and I'm like, that's not the problem here. Like, this room is totally ventilated enough that if you're not talking to anybody, you're gonna be fine. Why is no one wearing, like, gloves? Like, everyone's just like, touching shit, and you could just, like, buy food and, like, eat it, and I was like, what the... Like, this is probably...
For an arcade, yeah, just give out, like, some nylon gloves, buy some nylon gloves,
exactly.
give them out.
They're not
hard.
It would not be that hard, yeah. But instead, everyone was just walking around, just touching everything, licking everything, and it was fun to go, but it was just a very weird experience.
I forget they have bowling at Round 1 because I don't give a shit about the bowling. I'm there to play Hatsune Miku.
Oh, dude! The only reason I remember the bowling is because there was like an Evangelion campaign there, like way before it came to my hometown. But it was just like they had like bowling pins that were shaped like Ava Unit 1 or something that you would knock down.
That's cool.
But man, every time, because I always recommend whenever there's like a Tinder date, I'm like, oh, let's go to the arcade, and that always ends up being a pretty fun go-to because they're just like, oh, we get to do things,
kick her
we get
ass
to run around.
in Marvel vs. Capcom.
This is true level bacon. But
you want to learn how to do an infinite?
they always have like Marvel vs. and they have like a bunch of fighting games.
Marvel vs. Capcom.
But it's like it's so weird because, or it's not weird. It's just funny because whenever I go, there's like. It's like a litmus test because you never like come out as a weeb. And so you walk by the rhythm games and they're just like, oh, is this like Guitar Hero? Why is there a bunch of anime out there? I'm like, I don't know, that's weird.
I'm like, alright, you're done, bitch. I'm out.
I'm like, that's weird, and then I never message her after that day.
Yeah. There are never any girls that are like, oh, Hatsune Miku, I love Hatsune.
I have yet to run into one. I think I've taken like 5 or 6 people there, and not a single, every single time, they're like, that's fucking weird. And I'm like, yeah, let's go play Mario Kart or something.
They're hiding their power level from you.
That's just a defense mechanism. Fucking...
I should, one of these times I should just be like, because most of the time I'm
you gotta own it.
Yeah. Well, I never outright say like, oh yeah, that is weird. Most of the time I just look at that and I'm like, yeah, I guess. I'm like, I think it's like an anime thing. Whenever I look at like the Hatsune Miku
ones. God, I want to watch you do one of these one time and just I'd be so uncomfortable. Just you denying every essence of yourself.
It would be. I mean, it's a trip. It's because I mean, you just like talk. Oh, dude, it's so funny. I'm talking to one person right now where it was like we were talking about like BuzzFeed quizzes, and they were like going around, and I was like, of course I want to like BuzzFeed. They were like super into BuzzFeed quizzes or something.
Yeah, typical white girl trait.
But I was like, yeah, it's so weird. Like I never needed to know what Pokemon type I was, but now that they're offering that to me, and then they're like, I don't take those kind of quizzes. And I was like, yeah, me neither. I was just using that.
What Harry Potter?
Probably some Harry Potter bullshit. Women fucking love Harry Potter. And
I don't know. 4 Harry Potter houses. It's not that fucking hard to figure out which house you belong.
Well, like, no, but people, dude, I remember there's one chick I was dating, and they're like, oh, you have to take the Pottermore quiz. And I was like, what is it with fucking women and loving Harry Potter? If you're a woman, you're watching this, please.
It's because they're all turfs, bro.
Yeah, it's just, well, no, it's just bizarre because, like, that's, like, it's just everything. Whenever I hear, like, someone, like, a bunch of my friends will compare, like, shit to, like, Voldemort and, like, Harry Potter and shit. And I'm like, what is this? Like, when did this become, like, a
Who are you?
Slap the shit out of him.
Stop talking about Harry Potter. I remember I read whatever the 5th one is. I think maybe that's the last one.
The 5th one is not. I think that's
Deathly Hallows.
Chamber of Secrets is 4, I think.
What? No, that's the second one, bitch.
Goblet of Fire.
Goblet of Fire is 4. I read the 5th one.
Order of Phoenix is 5, I think.
Yeah.
And then it's
I think I read
Half-Blood.
Whenever that one came
Half-Blood
out.
Prince, and then wait.
I read that one.
And then it's the Hollow.
Deathly Hallows. Yep, no, you got it.
Okay, I read Deathly Hallows, I think I remember when
I
it
read
came out.
the first part of Deathly Hallows, or I read Deathly Hallows when it came out
But
just because everyone was.
I read it, I think it was in middle school or some shit. I remember reading it, and I think I might have read it just to talk to the girls in our class about it.
Hell yeah.
I was like, yeah, because they were talking about it, I'm like, yeah, I've read that book too, everybody. I know what I'm talking about. Harry Potter, yeah, he fucks, dude. Harry Potter.
That'll do it. Yeah, there's no moment. Truly, that was what was stopping everybody.
Hey, you guys want to bang Hermione? Just me? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, McGonagall. Yeah, she's cool.
I mean, now that I associate Hermione with fucking Emma Watson, of course I want to.
Dumbledore's gay. I knew that. I remember the whole time.
To keep up the kayfabe, I took like a BuzzFeed quiz and just on things that are unrelated. It's like, what's your favorite Harry Potter character? And I was always like Hermione because she's fucking hot as shit.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck do you think?
Yeah, it's like there's like, ooh, I'm Luna Lovegood because I'm a wacky person.
I did want to fuck Luna though. Luna's pretty hot.
I'd fuck. She's a pretty.
She's a magic chick. Like. The Dream Pixie Girl, whatever the fuck that is.
Manic Pixie
Dream Girl, yeah. She's like one of those.
Yeah.
Except
she ain't no.
She's an MR.
Yeah.
She's a bit of an MR, but that's okay.
I think she ain't no, because Ramona Flowers is like cool.
They made fun of her for seeing the invisible horses, and then it turns out those horses were real. So what do I know?
Yeah, maybe she's just fucking insane. I don't know. I think like with all the Manic Pixie Dream Girls that exist, there's like a spectrum where occasionally you'll get one that is very like they're either like very awkward, but that's charming to the person who's watching them because they're like, I'm also awkward and don't know how to talk to people, and they're only outgoing to like that one guy, and that's their weird trait. They're just like, I'm a kooky girl, but I'm very outgoing to you, but otherwise I just have no social norms whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like movies that had that trope.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is the one that comes to mind, where she's
that's a good movie though.
It's a great movie, yeah. But I think the entire point was that they were like not good for each other, and so it was interesting how that just got perverted by people who were like, oh, she's so mean, or like I want to fuck her so bad. But then you get like Ramona Flowers that's just like inexplicably they're into you, where they're just like very, very cool, they're into the same stuff you are, and they're just into you for some reason because they could have so many other people, but they just like you. But then there's also like, it's either they're very into, like, everybody wants them, but I'm the only one who can have them, or, like, nobody wants them, and they love me so much more because of that.
I hate that. That one's creepy. That last one is
There's so many that are like that.
Yeah.
No, have you met, like, an actual girl like that?
Oh, yeah,
like,
no, my
I met
ex-girlfriend.
people,
My ex-girlfriend
that
was kind of like
energy,
that.
have that, like, crazy
They
energy.
have that.
Yeah.
It's always a facade. Like, most of the time, it's very much like a... Like, there isn't an actual personality underneath, but they just exude manic pixie dream girl, like, essence, because they just are like, this is who I want to be, and then, like, who they are is often pretty different.
Yeah, in reality, I think my ex was kind of like that, where it was, she was a cosplayer, and we met through cosplay and some mutual friends and stuff like that. She didn't, like, act, like, crazy, like, manic pixie dream girl, but it felt kind of like a situation where it was like, no one wants me, but you want me, so I've attached myself to you, kind of thing. Okay. And I don't think that wasn't necessarily the case. I mean, she's cute and all. I wouldn't have been with her if that wasn't the case, because I'm a very superficial person and who cares about looks a lot. But she wasn't, like, traditionally attractive, I wouldn't say, I guess. That's how I'd put it. But yeah. I would like to meet another magic pixie dream girl so I can have sex with her and, stop jerking off. That's really what I want to do. Have raw, unprotected sex.
Because the energy that, that has been fucking characterized by that fucking archetype is, I don't know.
It's not good. It's not healthy. Those are mentally ill people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that was the entire point of, like, Eternal Sunshine on Spotless Mind.
That was definitely the point.
Yeah.
I had never seen that movie, but
it's pretty good.
You should.
It's great.
I bet it's good. Yeah, Jim Carrey. It's his.
Yeah,
one sane movie.
He puts on the mask. And then that's why it's so good.
He turns into the mask.
I don't know. It's just,
I love how he's an anti-vaxxer now. That's awesome.
He is?
What? Oh,
that's too
He's been an anti-vaxxer for a number of years now. Yeah,
that's
fucking weird.
There's okay, so it's man. I just hate when
that man is actually like mentally ill for sure.
Well, that's I assume why he played such a good Dr. Robotnik.
No, yeah, he does a good job.
I think Dr. Robotnik is probably an anti-vaxxer, but only because he wants to convince everyone else to anti-vax, and so then he can just kill them all with his egg virus.
Virus. His viruses are so bad that taking any kind of vaccine would
just fucks him up. Yeah. I mean, there's recently the Sonic the Hedgehog comic just finished up an arc about like there's like this disease or something that Eggman put out that was just turning people into zombies, and so there's a bunch of like panels at this point that's just of like Cream like having to like put down different members of the Sonic cast because they're like, I'm sorry, and then they have to like kill them or just wait for them to die and like chain them up because it's like, no, it's gonna spread. It's such a weird but I just think that was probably and it's because everyone in Knothole was anti-vax. Everyone on Mobius.
They didn't take the zombie vaccine.
They didn't take the ice zombie. It's
ice zombie.
That's I don't know, anything now that uses like just like viruses and stuff.
It hits a little too close.
Oda should have changed his plans for the most recent One Piece chapter.
The most recent arc about viruses.
No, but one of the members of Kaido's crew, who's like one of the higher ups, is called like Queen. So they're all like named after suits of cards, and sure. Queen is Queen the Plague. Just because he like his fighting style is just to have like a Gatling gun with like bullets that have poison on them, and so the most recent one turns people into like ice Onis, and he's probably gonna be healed in the next couple issues, if not next issue. I haven't read the spoilers.
Doing some One Piece spoilers here on this one.
I guess because I don't know. This is Friday when we're recording it. It'll come out by Sunday, and so you guys will know whether or not it's
if you give a shit about One Piece at all.
If you guys will know if Marco's coming in clutch. But I guess Zoro has the antidote now.
I need to catch up to Attack on Titan because shit's getting fucking wild.
Shit's like started today. Like the new
the 135 chapter.
The anime started today.
Oh well, no, it starts the
4th.
I don't know. I looked it up last night. It said like the 10th or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's today.
Attack on Titan.
Attack on Titan season 4, which I'm really hyped for because it looks awesome. and I really like the arc that they're adapting.
Did the manga end then?
No,
it's
like very close. It's very close,
okay.
and they'll probably finish it with this season. They said this was the last season.
Yeah, no, this is like. It's weird how Attack on Titan. I mean, it faded from consciousness purely because the second season took like
a million
8 years
yeah.
to get produced.
But it came back with a fucking bang, baby.
But like people who stuck around, like it's still amazing.
It's
like
still
that's
awesome. Yeah.
That's one of those things that looks like it's gonna stick the landing.
It
like,
was a good idea to wait that long to adapt the rest of the manga.
Yeah, because they probably don't want to have like an anime only ending.
Yeah, it would have sucked ass. They would have defeated the whole point.
Yeah, like they probably just would have like it probably would have played out very differently. I'll not spoil that. I don't know. Do people who just watch One Piece are so weird to me? Because I was gonna say like for One Piece watchers, sorry, but I'm like, no, you're weird. I don't get you because like
you're a weird.
The pacing now
you're
is
weird,
like
buddy.
1-to-1 at best between manga chapter and anime.
Oh
so
my
it's
God,
just
yeah.
the most drawn out bullshit ever, and there's just like a million panning shots, and they just like spend 8 because they upped the animation budget because they're like, wow, not only does the story suck because we're dragging it out so long, because like Dressrosa was a quitting point for a lot of people because one, Dressrosa in the manga is long as fuck, like. But it was, like, I think a year extra longer in the anime because they just dragged it out as much as they could. And also the animation sucked ass. And so they were like, well, we have to step it up. So after that, I think they hired some, like, better animators. And they were able to kind of, like, step up their game. But it's still weird because, like, the animation's really good and you can watch, like, individual fights, like, pop off. Like, the Luffy versus Katakuri fight is amazing in the anime. But, yeah, it's just weird because even though that's in there, it's just surrounded by the same bullshit.
Same filler ass shit.
Yeah, which is just too bad. Because
Very sad.
One Piece kind of deserves better.
One Piece does deserve better. Maybe in 30,000 years they'll do
One Piece
anime.
Kai, yeah, and then they'll just adapt it at
They'll
regular
actually
speed. They'll adapt it 2 times speed.
Yeah, they'll do that. When we finally colonize fucking a different solar system, they'll be like, here we go.
Well, One Piece is almost done. Like, actually...
Oda says that, but...
Well, like, I think...
It's probably because he's going to die soon.
Well, it's more like they're
in
the end game at this point. Like, they're basically at the point where...
They have to be.
Well, like, the next arc that's coming up is going to be the last arc.
I do feel like people are getting bored of One Piece.
I mean, I think people are pretty hype about it right now.
People like it, but they're like, okay, it better end soon.
No, I think
like
people are still into it.
How long has it been going on? Like
20-some years?
Yeah.
1997, 8?
Yeah.
Which,
you can read it within a month, which is fine.
Yeah,
I know because like Phineas and you guys both got into it like recently.
I've read most of it.
I read like a lot of it, and then I just stopped at a certain point, and then I just reread it around when Phineas like started reading it because I was like, oh shit, I remember how much I loved One Piece.
I think I'll reread it when it's done.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're gonna like, because I want to be. I started like catching up and reading weekly purely because I'm like, I want to be there when chapter 1000 comes out, and that's going to be like the first of next year.
Okay.
And B when it like ends. Because I just want to be there with the series. I can be
there. I can look at it.
Well, yeah, but I want to be like in the community and like talking about it in the same way. Because like once we know what the One Piece is, I feel like that's going to like not change how I like view the story, but I think like the hype around the One Piece and talking about that is like a huge part of it. And so I think that's going...
Sure, yeah. If that's what's exciting about it to you, that's cool.
So I haven't like read or watched One Piece. So is there like some bit of information that's holding like the viewership to like... Is there like some end goal?
Yeah,
where,
like getting the One Piece.
He wants to
get the One Piece. It makes you the king of pirates.
He wants to... Luffy, the main character, just wants to become the king of the pirates, and the way that you do that is find the One Piece, and then...
So
big news more...
20 years of just build up.
Yeah, just trying to find this shit.
There's a lot of arcs that happen between there. It's not just build up. It's just them doing stuff the whole time.
Well, it's just because, like, Like, initially they start out and they're, like, way overpowered compared to basically everyone else they fight. But then they get to the point where they're kind of, like, on the same toe. But, like, around the halfway point at this point in the manga, they just get to the point where they're like, we are not strong enough for this shit. So they have to go off and, like, kind of train by themselves. There's a 2-year time skip, and then after that, they are strong enough to kind of like compete with a lot of the best, but then they have to kind of develop their skills. So, I mean, it's really just...
Just a very good shonen manga. Just very good, but generically shonen manga.
That's a problem with, like, shonen shit, like, right? It's, like, the power scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since it's such a long-running series, right? Like, how do you like, have that power scale?
Exactly.
Like, what's crazy is that, like, he'll introduce... Oda is, like, a genius because... And, I mean, people can say whatever they want, but, like, the idea that, like, 300 chapters before, characters who are very important to the story are, like, properly introduced, their names will be mentioned, they're like, that guy's really fucking strong. And then by the time you see him, he's really fucking strong. And you're like, oh, I understand why everyone's, like, afraid of this guy. Or, like, whenever they talk about going into a certain territory or going into different places, it always makes sense that they can, like, take down the people that they take down. But there's always, like, caps to that. Like, it's always, like, all right... Like, they're probably not, unless they come up with a really, really good strategy, they're probably not going to, like, beat this person unless they... So the power scaling, I mean...
I imagine Oda's room looks like the fucking Pepe Sylvia room where he's just got fucking notes all over the walls. It's like, this character's fucking over here and this character's doing this right now. And he's like, I'm not even going to write this down, but this character's doing this and they're off in fucking space.
No, dude, well, two kind of funny things. Like, one, in a really recent interview, Oda was talking about how... it was like, what are you really thankful for, Oda? And he's like... One Piece wiki editors because he goes back and it's just like he's like, oh, I want to integrate this character,
awesome.
And he just like goes back and goes through and he's like, oh shit, I gave him that ability. All right, I'll integrate, because like Oda's a master of A, making like setting up things, and B, also making it look like he set up things because he's able to integrate things into the story really well. That it's like, oh, he's probably planning that, and then it's like, no, I planned. Like the 11 supernovas out like 3 chapters before they came, but they look like they're supposed to be a part of the story since day one. It's crazy. And then the other one is like it shows the difference between like authors, because Akira Toriyama, the guy who wrote Dragon Ball, it's really funny because there's this guy in original Dragon Ball named Tao Pai Pai he's just like an assassin guy who beats up Goku really hard, and he's the first like really big antagonist he has to beat. And Akira Toriyama and Eiichiro Oda were like talking in the same room, and he was like, Eiichiro Oda's like, my favorite character from Dragon Ball is Tao Pai Pai, and then Eiichiro Oda was like, who?
What the fuck?
Like he was like, who? And then he was like, he described, and he was like, how do you not remember? And then Akira Toriyama was like, man, you're really getting into the minor characters now, and he's like, he was the main antagonist for like 30 chapters, like minor characters, and he like goes off on him, and it's just really funny to see because
the work ethic there.
Because well, I mean, like Akira Toriyama is like a hack, and it's just funny to see that because you don't. I mean, he's like the granddaddy of a lot of like shonen tropes, but it's also really funny because a lot of shonen tropes are not good writing inherently. But Akira Toriyama just made them because he was like, I guess I have to make this.
And now people follow it because it was successful.
And it's successful because it's, like, enthralling to read, but writing-wise, there are, like, a lot of just tropes that
The mangaka of Attack on Titan, he, like, supposedly wrote the whole story before he started writing
That makes
manga.
total sense.
And it's like, that feels about right. Like, a lot of stuff has, like, very good payoff, or very interesting payoff, at least.
I mean, that's always the thing, too, with, like, One
yeah.
Piece, where he's like, I had a beginning, middle, and end in mind,
Mm-hmm.
and basically what I'm just doing is stretching out the middle. Like, where we're at right now is, like, what he planned for the end, like, exactly what he planned for the end. But a lot of like the middle stuff, he was just like, all right, I just had to kind of.
Is it just because it just got way popular?
Probably way more popular than I thought.
Right?
And Shonen Jump's like,
we'll
cut your dick off if you
right.
don't make this last for 20 years.
But I also think like they were like, hey, could you make this last a little bit longer? And he was like, totally, because he's a guy who's in love with world building, because he just likes being like, oh, there's a bunch, because he clearly was a guy who had thought of all of this stuff before, but he's like, it's not going to be in the main story. So then afterwards, he was like, oh, now that I can put it in the main story, let's just do that. And so he puts it in and has like an entire arc around like little ancillary things that are not that important, but he's just very fascinated by the world and like what inhabits that. So I think that's a very good mentality to have, and probably Eiichiro Oda is the only person in the world, or the only like mangaka that I could think of that could be like,
Currently,
all right, add 500 chapters to your manga, and he could totally be like, absolutely, like, and he would have no problem coming up with things that are both interesting and serve the greater narrative to the rest of his story. I'm sucking his dick a lot here, but I think he's a genuinely amazing writer. Whatever. Fuck you. Oh yeah,
I like One Piece. I don't hate One Piece. I think it's good. I think I enjoy it a lot. It's been a while since I've read any shonen manga as good as One Piece. So it's
My Hero Academia.
No, I fucking hate Academia.
You're on that crazy.
Yeah, I fucking hate that shit, dude.
What about Black Clover?
Black Clover sucked cock, dude.
Which one do you hate more?
Yeah,
I've never seen Black Clover as much as I've seen My Hero, so I can't say I hate Black Clover more, but if I read more Black Clover, I'd probably hate it more.
Black Clover is weird, though, because it's like shonen on crack, where like, if you read the manga, I mean, the anime is like the opposite, so the appeal of the manga to me when I watched the anime...
read the manga is why I hate it.
Well, like, when I watched the anime, I was like, oh, they just took away, like, the best part of Black Clover, which was they took the shonen idea and just compressed it. Yeah. And they were like, all right, what if we had, like, arcs just done in a chapter? Like, what if we had, like, arcs...
full training arc.
What if we had, like, the entirety of, like, what would be an arc just, like, squished into a chapter... And so we can just move on and keep getting...
I hate that when I, like, read something in a manga that, like, feels like it's going to be set up and then it's just immediately resolved. And I'm like, wow, that doesn't feel like a payoff at all. That feels like I got gypped out of something.
I think, well, the main thing is, like, once he gets to, like, the endgame stuff, apparently he was trying to, like, make a weird, like, seinen horror manga. And then his editor was like...
Black Clover?
Well, like, his editor was like, hey, man...
Shonen Jump?
Yeah, well, he was, like, submitting a bunch of those, and he was like, hey, how about what you do is make, like, a basic bitch-ass shonen, and then you can just introduce all the shit that you want into that. And so he's like, okay, and so he made Black Clover, and now he's, like, doing a bunch of, like, very weird stuff with it in the later chapters, and so... It's interesting because he had like ideas for it that are like very bizarre, and so he's like, "Oh, I'll just add those in later."
I do like that style. The horror elements, like was it seinen? How do you
seinen? It's
I do like that.
That does happen more with
Shiki's super
with stuff that gets
good.
popular, like with like mangaka that get popular, like Araki, for example. Like as soon as you're that popular, you can do whatever the fuck you want, and they're like. Yeah, okay. That's I'm okay with that idea.
Togashi's release schedule exists.
Yeah. Togashi can just write whatever, and they're like, publish that shit.
Well, it's just really funny because you look at...
He wrote this on a scrap of fucking toilet
napkin,
paper.
Yeah. He went into Denny's and was like, I have to write a manga, and then he drew in 30 minutes.
On their, like, crayon.
But I remember some guy was like, man, Togashi's not able to publish things because Shonen Jump's not giving him a time slot. And I'm like, do you not understand that, like, if he turned in just, like, notebook paper with, like, a drawing of Gon on it...
They would scan that shit and get it off.
Yeah, they would just be like, go, 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 go! Because that's a very popular manga, and it would make no sense for them to be like, well, we have to publish these Black Clover chapters.
That's why they moved JoJo to... Jump Ultra, because it got more like seinen as he went on, because he was like, this is more what I wanted to write.
Well, it's also like a monthly now, isn't it?
It's monthly, yeah. It's been monthly since part 7.
And I feel like Araki would have, like, because his perfectionism made it so he probably couldn't make a manga any less beautiful than what he has right now. So he probably would have just, like, died by now if he was trying to, like, make part 7, but, like,
so
weekly.
Good. He doesn't look old at all. He's fucking ageless. He's got he uses assistants unlike some mangaka Togashi.
Dude, it's man, because it's really funny to see like the comparative workstations of Araki versus. So like the guy who made JoJo's workstation is like. This kind
super
of
organized.
Well, it's like a Greek palace where it's like this like super organized, amazingly like everything's in its place. I'm gonna draw things and then like I'll pick up something and put it immediately back in its place. And they just like show Togashi he works from home and you just like see these like these like trash piles everywhere and it's just the most disgusting place in the world and you're just like, man, how do you live like this? Let alone work in here.
How do you have a wife that drew Sailor Moon?
Man,
bitch.
yeah, they're fine. They're doing fine though. They Yu Yu Hakusho versus like Sailor Moon. They don't have to worry at all.
I really don't. Who was fucking what's it called? Kagura or not Kagura?
Kaguya?
Fuck, what's it called?
Love is War?
No, wrong. The one about the Wolfman.
Spice and...
No, fuck, dude.
Wolfman.
The one that got like a
Wolf's
sequel
Reign?
recently that was like old, but it got a sequel recently about his children. Fucking
Wolf Children?
No.
Wolf's
Fuck
Reign?
you.
It was good though.
Inuyasha.
Yeah,
Goddamn it.
Inuyasha.
Inuyasha.
Wolf, man. I don't think he's a wolf. I think he's
Is
a
he
fox.
a fox? Okay, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Quite different.
I wouldn't know.
Inuyasha was a manga, right?
Yeah,
Who wrote
that? The chick who wrote it. What?
Who wrote Inuyasha?
Some chick. I think.
Some whore.
Dude, Inuyasha is such a fucking weird show. Like the weird,
I
like.
watched some of it too. Like I don't know how much I watched, but
Kagome, that's what I'm thinking of.
Kagome.
Do you not like it or?
I mean, I like it, but it's just like it's very. I mean, like I enjoy it a lot, but it's just like interesting to see like the whole like sit boy stuff and all like the different things where it's like, oh, she's clearly into this. Like she's clearly she clearly wants to be like
she's
the
role playing
the dom in this relationship. And there's a lot of like shoujo manga where
they fuck dogs.
yeah, it's a classic trope of the story.
the fucking dog trope.
That's always why it's really
Classic.
Scary. If you watch any like shoujo manga opening, it'll be like 5 different like pretty boys and then a dog.
Wolf Girl and Black Prince. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one, but that's kind of the opposite of that trope in a sense because she's the dog in that scenario.
But yeah, I mean, I just mean like in all shoujo manga, it just and in, like in most harem manga, it just feels sometimes like the author's just like dying inside while he's writing it because it's just like a bunch of high school students and like a 30-year-old man just being like, "Oh, Chitoge, I love you," and he's like,
Chitoge,
I don't care about
your teenage puss.
It's like I don't care about this, but like with shoujo manga. There's occasionally something where you can tell they just like let their fetish like leak into the work, and it's subtle at first, but then it'll just get like bigger and bigger until it's the entire story. And then their editor's like, what the fuck?
How did I let
you
this
can't
happen?
stop me. They turn around and there's just a huge big old collar.
Dude, being a manga editor has to be such an easy job. You're like, this is fucking dog shit. Put this back. Go try again.
Slap him. Just like, no way.
Like, no. Okay, bring me back something that's readable, and then I'll talk to you about it. Okay.
It is interesting to see, like, because I mean, being an editor for like something that. Like, you can add a lot to a story as an editor. Like, I know the famous examples, like Akira Toriyama just, like, gave up around the Android saga. And so he just, like, all the villains after Dr. Gero were just all, like, the editor being like, this sucks ass. Like, make a new one. And which, he's, like, kind of an asshole about that, but we wouldn't have gotten Cell without just the editor being like, no way. This cannot be the main villain of the art. And he's like, fine, I guess I'll make these kids. And he's like, no, you keep going.
Try again.
Yeah, wrong.
Yeah, on a weekly schedule, dude. Oh, God, I'd be such a good editor. I'd fucking tell these fucking scrubs at Shonen Jump.
I feel like
I'd be like, your work is dog shit.
I feel like
people only subscribe to this magazine because it's dog shit. So keep writing, man.
Yeah, keep writing all the tropes. But I think like being a shonen manga like writer and artist would be literal hell.
Yeah,
I think.
no, it's fucking
because seeing all of the different like things where it's like, oh yeah, like if you ever, and I remember Tagashi put out like a schedule at some point that was like, oh here's what my average day looks like, and it's like work for 15 hours, and they get overall like 5 hours of sleep every day, and some days they get no sleep. And, like, they have 2 hours of free time in the entirety of the week.
That was back when Tagashi was actually drawing his manga.
Yeah, and, well, now he's like, fuck that. But Eiichiro Oda's like, yeah, that's right. Like, that's about right. Even worse for me.
They come out on a weekly schedule, right?
Yeah.
For Shonen Jump.
Shonen Jump, yeah.
Okay, so it's like one chapter, which is like, how many How many panels?
It's
like
20 pages.
19 probably.
20 pages, so like
that's a lot of fucking work for a week, right?
And
Yes.
like draw
all that shit.
Oh yeah, they have to
And writing a story.
and they like have like assistants who will like fill in the background and stuff. But like, I remember, Kishimoto, the guy who made Naruto, is accused of basically just letting all of his assistants like draw the entirety of the manga at the end, because you can like you look at like how Kishimoto drew at the very beginning of Naruto versus at the end of it looks, and the end of it looks exactly like Boruto, which is like a manga drawn by a completely different person. And so it was like an assistant on Naruto for a long time, and so the end of like Naruto looks the exact same as what the assistant's like regular art style is. So everyone's like, yep, he just handed that off. But I can totally understand that,
because after you're writing for a while, you're like,
well, just like the grind,
just having that workload. They take breaks, though, right?
Depends.
Occasionally.
Occasionally.
I know Oda takes he does like 3 on, 3 off now. Because he's been doing it for 22 years. He's just like...
He's earned the right.
He's like, I will die. Like, I will literally die if I keep doing this pace. And so he'll take like just a weekly break. I think that was actually like medically mandated for him or something.
Yeah, Shonen Jump's like, we can't lose you.
Yeah, well, it's like, because there were multiple times where he's like, yeah, I worked straight for 2 weeks and only slept like... Or I worked straight for like 2 years and only slept like 3 hours in those 2 years. So I feel very ill because I was overworking myself. And they're like, you cannot do that.
We will not allow you to die.
Shit. Yeah, that reminds me of that one anime on Netflix, Noizumi-kun or something like that. It's something with the girl.
Nozaki?
I think so. The guy that's
it's about him being a mangaka.
Yeah.
Nozaki-kun's great.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
That's a good one.
It's probably my favorite comedy.
Well, one of my favorite comedy moments from that show is when they're talking about the he always positions his people wrong in terms of like spacing, and so he just pretends like everybody has boxes.
On a box,
and it's like, oh, boxes are super popular today. And I just think that's the funniest shit in the world.
Just inserting that into your manga to explain why everyone's standing.
I could just imagine that, like being super overworked and just being like, I'm not redrawing that. I already inked that part.
Boxes are super popular in school nowadays. Yeah, that fucking manga's so funny. What was I gonna say? Do you know the Goblin Slayer mangaka is now a VTuber himself?
Really?
Yeah.
Does he draw the manga on stream?
I think he's drawn some panels on stream, but not like a lot, of course, because that would be...
Yeah, that would be probably breaching some sort of contract.
Or he does like promotional art on stream for sure, I know of. But I like his VTuber model. I don't think it's rigged very well, but his VTuber model's okay.
I've recently gotten really into like Ina's art streams because they're just the most relaxing thing in the world.
Yeah, you do the pose drawing.
Yeah, the structure drawing. Like most of the time, I'll be drawing something completely different, and I'll just be like, "Oh, this is nice."
You should probably practice this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. I should get around to that. But it's just like most of the time, yeah. I should definitely practice the poses that she's doing, but I just like listen to her and I'm like, oh, you're just comfy. This is like laying in bed with a squid girl whispering slightly into your ear, and it's just like, oh, it's warm. It's like next to a fireplace.
Nice. How nice.
She tucked me in. Mama Ina tucked me in and said, good night.
Kureiji Ollie debuted today.
Kureiji
Ollie debuted at 7 a.m., which I'm not getting up for.
I got up for it.
I know you did. I don't give a fuck. I'm sleeping.
Well, it was like 4 a.m, and I was like, I can go to bed for like 3 hours and then just watch this stream, then go back to sleep. Because I felt like at that point, I was like, she responded to my tweet. I have to stay up and be in chat.
I have to be there. No, it was good. I liked her debut. It was cute. She speaks 3 languages as well, which is cool.
Yeah, and she speaks them all at like relatively the same time.
Very fast paced.
And she's just like energetic. I like that she turned into like just this like speed goblin at this point, where like every picture is just like her just like being like a goblin and also just like vibrating.
Yeah.
Because she just constantly, to translate in 3 languages and still have the stream kind of like make a good pace so you're not just like stopping for people. you have to really go fast.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to when she's more comfortable with the streaming environment.
Yeah, because she definitely... I mean, there's a lot of nerves that come with a debut stream.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. She seems cool.
She seems cool. I like her voice more than I... Yeah.
And she seems like a shit poster, which I'm totally down for.
Yeah, that's cool with me, for sure. Yeah, you're okay to tune out now, Phineas. Don't worry. He always listens to our episodes, and he's not going to like this part, so...
I mean...
Bye-bye, Phineas.
Yeah, he is immediately stopping right now. We're going to see your attention dip. And hey, if anybody's coming here just for the VTubers, welcome. You dropped in...
The VTubers segment.
You dropped in 2,800 bars into this podcast.
Which is about an hour and 25 minutes in. Yeah, more VTuber talk. I don't know, I just browsed the r/HoloLive subreddit casually now, and I'm like... It makes me remember why I left Reddit, because the meme quality is fucking
so bad.
Dog shit, dude.
Also, like, I totally understand, because Coco stopped doing, like, meme reviews, because she's like, there just aren't enough funny ones on the subreddit anymore.
They're just so unfunny. Redditors cannot be funny if they fucking wanted to. For the life of them. If a gun was held to their head and they're like, tell a semi-competent joke. Say something racist that's funny. Do something.
Does the narwhal bacon? When does the narwhal bacon?
And then they would be fucking black. Their brains would be on the floor. I would shoot them. I'm the one holding the gun to their head.
I mean, it's so weird, because, like, Reddit's this, like, I don't even know how to describe why it's so unfunny.
It's because it's like a collective consciousness of like, oh, I understand what this means. I'm not laughing, but I understand what this means, and that therefore means it's funny somehow.
Yeah. Reference humor?
Yeah, kind of like referential humor. Yeah, it's like, okay, I get what they're saying, and I'm not laughing.
I've read HoloLive for, like, there's, like, cute things. Like, I enjoy watching the VTubers just, like, because I don't think they're funny, but I enjoy watching just, like, people being like, oh, this is a cute drawing I did of, like, kind of a funny situation.
Art is, like, good, yeah.
Yeah, but then you just look at that, and there are people who are like, I'm gonna make a funny meme, and it's just not... Well, the one meme that I did crack...
Rushia is flat on her chest, haha, she doesn't have any fucking boobs. Ha!
That's it, she's drawn.
Kill yourself. Kill
we just lost half our viewers because they Sudoku'd on this podcast. Man, but I don't know. Fucking, yeah, it's just, I
it's
can't.
abysmal. It's really sad.
The one that did make me laugh is when Callie was doing the stream about, like, her wanting to play P3. It was just, like, two people sitting in front of, like, a computer, and it's like, should we let her play this, like, 10-year-old game? And then, like, the woman is just, like, looking at, like, frowning at the other guy, and he's like, no. I saw that harmonica solo. It's very subpar. She will not be able to play Persona 3. That was the most that got a chuckle out of me.
Yeah, it was.
Other than that, step up your fucking game.
Yeah, we're calling you out, Redditors.
I mean, Twitter is like kind of funny occasionally, but most of the time it just like
there is shit in Twitter replies that will make me laugh, and I'm like, okay, there we go. Yeah, that's why I'm here.
But it's only like funny. It's only funny when they do like quick jabs. But people, when they're just like, here's my Twitter joke. Most of the time, I'm like, that's not funny. But then a lot of people will like it. The one...
And I'll like it out of willingness to follow a law.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, this has 200k likes. I guess I have to like this.
I guess I have no choice but to like this tweet.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, Jack got a lot of traction on his art the other day.
He got 200 likes, cool, yeah. Which
on his very first tweet from that account.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Well, because, like, the entire point of that was literally, I was just like, alright, I need to upload something to this Twitter account before I start, like, because I just, like, I was getting to the point where I was like, I just kept deleting, like, art things, because I was like, this sucks ass, and I was like, I just need to do something, and then upload it, so I just get over that, like, first hump, and just get over that first, like, I'm scared to upload whatever I did, and then the more traction it got, the more I was like, oh, this is dog shit. Like, I need to get way better at this.
It was cute. It was a cute piece of art.
It was cute, but it was just like, there's like, I mean, you notice like more imperfections in your own work.
Yeah,
but,
I know, yeah. I'm not saying it's fucking awesome, fucking god tier
it
was cute.
But thank you. Yeah, no, I'm just,
You had the right spirit in there, and that's all it needs.
Oh yeah, well thank you. But now, I mean, Ollie did inspire me to be like, you know what, I'm gonna create more art so I can make something better.
Why that name though for your account?
Because that was actually a really funny thing. I was like, what do I do for my account? So I went to a fucking what's it called? I went to a Wu-Tang Clan name generator and put in my name, and it was like Lucky Wanderer, and I was like, that's my name now, and I know that. It's definitely a Wu-Tang Clan name thing, so there's like 80 other people named that on Twitter, and they all have one follower, and I currently have the most, because me and Jackson are the only people following that account. Lucky Wanderer 3, for anybody interested. I don't make good art, but I give it my best.
So, like, the people that liked your picture, like, they didn't follow you?
Oh, no.
That?
Well, they were just, the reason that they liked my picture is because,
like,
she was like, I had a picture of her with another VTuber in it, and she mentioned that VTuber, and she was like, she replied to my art, which she didn't reply to like a lot of art, so it was like weird, and people like saw that in their feed, and she was like, yes, Watson senpai, wangy, 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 and I was like, I don't know how to respond to this, but that got infinitely more likes than my picture got.
But you would think that like some of the people that like that would follow you or something.
Just yeah. Well, I mean, you know, I think they liked it out of like respect, because they're like, oh, I can't just not like the picture. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you know, I literally just wanted to post something so I could just get over like the first hump of like, I just need to get something out there, and then I just pushed it out there, and I was like, all right, I'm done, and then. Like, it got a little bit, I was like, oh, it got 4 likes, that's nice, and then she liked it, and then she commented, and I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, so I promise, I'll improve.
Any Indonesian listeners?
Oh, I don't know, I haven't checked, I don't.
Yeah, Crazy Ollie, if you're listening.
Yeah, no, I'll link them back to the podcast.
Yeah, promote the podcast under that post, that would have been good.
Yeah.
That's why you shouldn't be allowed to edit tweets, because I would have just edited that tweet, I would have removed the picture and said, follow our podcast. And then it would have seemed like, and then we would have, I would have forced us to mention Watson in this, so it would have looked like she responded after listening to it.
Official recommendation from Hololive.
Oh, that would have been
to
beautiful.
The Brown Bricks podcast.
Yeah, no, Watson did like the picture though. So,
nice.
Yeah,
nice.
No, I was like, this is literally because at the beginning of break, I was like, I want to make something because they like a lot of pictures, just like fan art and stuff.
Their hashtag,
and so they'll just be like. But I was like, I want to make something that's good enough that one Hololive girl will like it. So I completed that. So now I should just
they commented too, which is, takes quite a bit more effort.
Well,
than just the button.
I know. I was very happy with that. So now I'm gonna make something that's not just like they're competent and that they'll also like.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my end goal. I don't know. That's no, but I was tickled with that.
Draw Watson with the fat Fuda cock.
Oh, that'd be sick. Hashtag Watson
pussy.
Yep. Hashtag
and
Watson.
Now they're not listening.
Watson's listened to every episode of this podcast.
Yeah, Watson would like this podcast.
Yeah, they're just a giant shit post. I think it's funny though, because I was just like looking at that and I was like, you like this because you liked the tweet below and you just like didn't want to. You just like did out of just like, well, I can't just like her tweet and not his, because I like look at her art and I'm like, you did this out of pity, but I appreciate it.
I don't know. I don't think artists are bad people in that way. Not all of them, obviously.
Yes.
There's a lot of them that I respect and appreciate.
Oh, I don't think they're bad people. I think they're nice people. That proves that they're nice people.
Well, yeah. People like this. Like, I think art as a medium, people want to see others succeed more often than not, rather than in certain other fields.
I think it's also because, with art in, animation sense, there's more of, a cutthroat thing, but I think on Twitter, there's more because you can be following as many people as you want. So the idea of like, oh, this guy makes really cool art,
and it's gonna somehow drown me out. It's like that's not necessarily the case at all.
We'll both make cool art, and then we'll both get people who commission us. I don't know. I think because the sea is a lot more vast, so I think a lot more people are very interested in like promoting that stuff. But yeah. I don't know. It's cool. It's very cool.
Very true. All right. I think.
I think that's good.
Good for today. All right. Thank you, everybody,
First
for
three-person
listening.
podcast. Not bad. Yeah. Thanks for listening.
We managed to make Tage participate a decent amount of times in this podcast. Please email us at brownbricks@gmail.com.
Oh yeah.
Or brownbrickspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. Brown Bricks was taken.
Send us all your dick pics or whatever.
Yeah.
The fuck you want.
Or send us. Someone commented said Connor was really good last episode. He's gone. we fired his ass.
We're no longer friends with him even. He said something fucked up off podcast and we don't even like him anymore.
He's canceled.
He said some really fucked up things.
And follow the Brown Bricks Pod at Brown Bricks Pod Twitter account if you really use Twitter. I don't really post anything on there, but follow it anyways.
Righto.
All right, thank you. Bye bye.
See you.